Hey, what's up, everybody? It is King Valdris here, and we are live on Twitch doing some recording of Infinity Watch. And we thought it would be important to go over what T4 recommendations I personally feel that are gonna be good for this team, and other people are gonna have different opinions on what they feel are going to be important, but this is my list of what I'm going to go with at for Infinity Watch. So the Infinity Watch team, and it would help if I could get this correct. As it sits, we've got 4 members. Adam Warlock will probably come out in 2 weeks, which will require the X Factor Jubilee combination along with the gear and ISO requirements. But so far, we've put together a list of what is going to be mandatory, what is going to be secondary, and then what is going to be a luxury at the end. So when you look at this team, the first one that comes in is the Nebula passive. And I'm sorry I don't have cute infographics. I don't have a lot of the nice stuff. This is just a quick, let's go over it. People need to know the information. But I think everybody is going to agree. All content creators are probably going to agree. Nebula passive is the most important T4 on the team because it makes the team work. She gets the extra assist chance, which means she's putting out the vulnerables, which means all of the rest of the team that's a striker is doing all of the extra damage. So we're going to pause after the first one and we're going to go over what I just said. So Nebula as a skirmisher, when she assists, is going to put up the vulnerable. Every other member of the team is going to maintain a striker balance because with her assisting every time, you're going to get triple attacks going all the time. You're talking massive damage. You're talking triple attacks. Gamora can do a quad attack. Or if you look at her basic, she can do 5 attacks. It's a 5 attack. So when you're looking at the very first T4 you need to do is Nebula passive. And then 2 and 3 are kind of tied for me because there's a lot. It's a lot like Black Order. It depends on where you're trying to use them and what you're trying to do. So I put the damage and drain above the health and deflect, but they're basically tied. Phyla passive gives you the 10% extra damage, and as long as they have death proof, they get 25% extra drain. This team is incredibly hard to kill or keep down. Adam Warlock, the legendary character, the passive, you're looking at an extra 10% health, and they spawn with deflect. That is huge. 10% health on Gamora or 10% health on Phyla is massive. Or Moondragon. Her healing is based off of her max health. So those two are automatically the next two I would do. And then Gamora passive. If you haven't noticed, we've got a passive trend going. Gamora passive, you're using more for her unempowered state than her empowered state. When you've got the team together, her unempowered, let me move me out of the way. Her unempowered state, on empowerment, fill an extra 20% speed bar and clear all negative effects. So you're clearing ability block, heal block, any debuff, but the ability block and the heal block are the big ones for me. And then you get into the rest. And the reason I don't have Moondragon's passive up here is because it only gives a 20% focus and resistance, which it will be used as a secondary means of T4. And that's why it's not up in the mandatory. She's good, but it's not required to win when you're looking at damage. Number 5, I've got Moondragon special. Anything that can give you a turn meter advantage over another tune is always going to be huge. Moondragon special reduces an additional 20% turn meter on the primary target. That's massive. And then you get to Gamora's basic. Gamora's basic is absolutely devastating when she's empowered. Her basic T4 gives 40% damage to all attacks. So not just the primary, but the extra bonus too. So 40 times the 3 attacks, you're looking at 120% damage. So she attacks with her basic. Nebula assists, puts up the vulnerables, and then Gamora attacks another time. So you got 3 attacks from Gamora, then Nebula, then Gamora again. You're talking 5 hits on a single target. It is a devastating attack. It will kill any toon that's in the game in one attack. Then we're moving down to the Moondragon Ultimate. And I debated putting up here in the mandatory section versus secondary. Moondragon Ultimate gives you an extra 15% healing based on her max health. Early game or early toon, if you've got low stars, is not going to be as impactful as when she's 7-star or 5, 6, or 7 red, where she's got the extra health. But it's still gonna keep Gamora alive, and Gamora is the one toon that you've got to keep alive. And then you've got basics, and the reason I have basics as high as they are is because of the Nebula assist. Atom basic gives you an extra 35% damage if you T4 the basic on the assist mechanic. And then 45% damage on Phyla. Phyla's already got the highest base damage in the game. Giving her an extra 45% is insane. And then the last one that I've got on the mandatory list is Atom Special. And again, this one was a debate on mandatory versus secondary. But you put Disrupted on enemy protectors for 2 turns. And 120% damage. It's huge. It's huge. Because you're going to use this ability anyways. The Atom Special ability block to protectors. Disrupted, ability block for 2 turns. I mean, it's massive. So you're going to use it anyways. You might as well keep the protectors from taunting so you can kill the main damage dealers quickly and early. And then we're going to jump into the secondary. And there's 5 secondary on here. Moondragon passive arguably could be a mandatory one because of her focus and resistance to the entire team. But if you can kill a team fast enough to where this doesn't matter, that's why it's below all of them. You've got Moondragon Basic, which gives the controlled toon an extra 20% damage. So if you attack the enemy team and it chooses Black Bolt to control, you're giving their most likely 6 or 7 red star Black Bolt an extra 20% damage. We already talk about overpowered toons in the game and how Black Bolt is insane in his damage category. You're giving an extra 20% is huge. You got Phyla ult, which gives you defense up and offense up for 2 turns to the team. If you've got extras, go for it. If you've got extra T4s, go for it. And then Gamora's extra attacks, the special and the ult. The special, the big piece for me was the heal block for 2 turns. Because it's going to stop a lot of potential counters in Silver Surfer can't heal on on turn. Kestrel can't heal. Thanos can't heal. It's going to stop a lot of counters. And then Gamora ult gives you 100% extra damage. And we've already discussed how big her damage is in her empowered state. And then the luxury ones, for me, these are not as important. If you're going to go 20 for 20 on this team, that's why these 5 are down here. Nebula ult deals big damage to every target. What I mean by that is Nebula's ult at T4 gives you 80% to the primary target and 50% damage to secondary targets, and it chains up to 10 targets. So you're hitting everybody on the board. So when you look at this, like if you use this in Dark Dimension, and I'll bring up Dark Dimension again, if you use this in Dark Dimension and you've got a board full of enemies, this turns into 580% damage on the board. It's big. That's a lot of damage. You've got Phylavel special. It's 50% damage to primary and secondary targets, and then 10% piercing damage. Piercing damage is always good. Bypasses the armor. Again, you're just destroying the team with damage. But it's not enough for me to put higher up. Adam Warlock Ultimate, 70% extra damage. That's all it does. That's why it's so low on this list. This is the one that is the interesting piece. Nebula Basic. Nebula Basic gives you an extra 5% of the target's max health. Looking at Dark Dimension, because we already mentioned the ultimate, I am probably going to bring up Nebula for Dark Dimension 5. Because she hits everybody with her ultimate, and then her basic hits for 10% of their max health. And I mean, we thought Phoenix was bad or Ebony Maw was bad. This is every time she uses her basic. And then if you look on MSF.gg, her basic or her assist mechanic deals 3% of the target's max health. So every single time she goes in Dark Dimension, or every time she assists in Dark Dimension, that's an extra 3% health off of that. That's why I said this is basically a Dark Dimension one. Because 3%, like if you look at Thanos, a 7 red Thanos at 560 something thousand health at ISO level 5, at green ISO 5, 10% is only 50,000 damage, which is big for Thanos. But if you're looking at a character that only has, for instance, 175,000, you're taking 17,500 damage. It's not as big, and it's not a large investment for me to put in as a T4. And then Nebula Special, again, just like Adam Warlock Ultimate, Nebula Special only deals 70% extra damage. It's not big. She's not a big damage character. It's not a mandatory needed piece for me. This is going to be the most devastating team that we have ever seen, because you've got Safeguard, you get immunity, you get Drain, Gamora demolishes with her damage, Phylavel hurts with her damage. I don't have Adam Warlock as of yet, and I'm holding an arena on defense. Once I get Adam Warlock and I slot Adam Warlock into the defense, if he works correctly and there's no bugs, it's gonna be devastating. If you have not invested in this team, now is the time. The best way to be free to play is with cores. And the best way to get cores is arena. This is the #1 arena team right now without their legendary. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, give a thumbs up. Let's hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, this team is devastating. We will see you all in the next video. Thanks for hanging out, guys.